Hey, welcome in, everybody. This is Fantasy Football Island. My partner in crime, Jeff Didoff. Jeff, how are you doing today?
It's time. It's time. It's time. It's August. Listen, Chad, last week on Thursday, that was the last Thursday of the calendar year with no football. Every
it's
Thursday
unbelievable.
going forward will be the college or pro. NFL will suck for a few weeks because the Hall of Fame game's going to suck, and they'll be, I was going to say shitty, but I don't want to cuss on the podcast. Crappy preseason games, but then we have college football games, NFL. I cannot wait. It's time.
I was just saying that today where, like, this week until the Super Bowl's done, we're going to have football. And it's great because I love baseball. It's a long grind. And the Dodgers are going to win it all now. We're getting Scooball. We talked about that on March Madness that just dropped. So go to fanstreamsports.com, listen to that. And I got my part. Look at that. I got people here. This sounds great.
Hand you stuff?
Hand me stuff. It's so having
Look
kids is so great.
Pro.
Exactly. A pro move. But no, it's exciting. And fantasy football is going to be here before we know it. It seems like, Jeff, the last couple years, people are finally listening to us. This is our third year doing this show, I think. Maybe fourth. Who knows?
I think
it's our third.
It's our 19th year of talking about it.
It is. But we have pushed a long time for wait on drafting. Push it as close to the season as possible. I think more people are doing that because I'll let you talk about if you can't make a draft, Jeff and I could help you out. And it seems like when we do this, it's happening more like Labor Day weekend and right before that. So talk about Fantasy Draft Proxy, Jeff.
Okay, so Nathan Shively started this company up, and what happened was totally by chance. He's with some buddies on like a guy's trip, and a couple of guys on the trip. This was like in August. Like, oh, I got a draft coming up. I got a draft while we're out here. Somebody else like, yeah, I've got to do something. What are we going to do? We can't have auto draft. And so Shively, it clicked into his head to say, you know what? I think we'll start a company where we'll draft for people. And Fantasy Draft Proxies was born. Fantasy Draft Proxies, PROXIES.com. Check it out. And it started off just like, hey, I'm going to miss my draft. I need somebody. To it's like ballooned into, I don't know enough about fantasy. I want to get an expert on who drafts. And so we do everything at Fantasy Draft Proxies. You and I both do it. We're like from drafting for you and then consulting through the regular season. I usually have 10 to 15 people say, hey, run my team all year. Don't tell anybody you're doing it, but do it. And it ends up usually working out pretty well, barring injuries. But you and I mean, I think last year, I probably did 75 to 100 drafts for other people. And sometimes people couldn't make it. Sometimes people said, you know what? I want to have someone else who's doing a lot of it. And it's selfish on my part, Chad. I don't know about you. We do our big drafts as late as we can. We get lots of practice. These are great practice drafts. We take them seriously. We absolutely do. But we can notice trends from other people. We have our own strategies we employ, but we can also see like, oh, in all these drafts, they're overdrafting this player or they're underdrafting this player. And if we want them, we've got to get them before all of that. We get all that knowledge, so you benefit from that. FantasyDraftProxies.com. FantasyDraftProxies.com is where you go. I'm at That Happens. You are Chad Ochorinco?
Chad Ochorinco on X, yes.
On X. I'm at That Happens. Reach out to us if you want for more information. But yeah, we'll do a bunch of drafts this year to the point where there'll be times when it gets to the last 2 weeks before the season starts, Chad and I are doing multiple drafts. And I've done drafts for people. I don't know, Chad, about you international. I've done drafts for people in Australia. In England, I think there's only 2 countries. I've done Canada. That might be it. Australia, England, and Canada is where I've done drafts for people. I don't know about you. Have you done any international ones yet?
I've done one. I think it was somewhere in Europe or England or somewhere like that. I remember doing that. I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like we do take it seriously. We get if you have input like, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. We will honor that because it's your draft. And we make sure we scour what your rules for your league are. So, and we take it seriously, want to win. I think I've done better on the ones that I'm helping manage or do stuff. Like I've won, I think 3 of the last couple of years, I've had 3 people or 4 people I'm doing each year. I think I've won 3. I've been in championships and a couple. So I do better for them, which is probably best for continuing to do this than my own personal doing well. There's sometimes where, and I'm like, I remember I had a draft because I drive down to Cincinnati every year on Labor Day weekend because that's when my big Cincinnati one is with my high school buddies. I remember I had a draft, and I will not turn on draft. I know that you like Shively and you are buddies because you get about 100. I get about 35 to 40. So I know you're his favorite. So you get more than me. But I remember I had one driving down, and I had my phone, and I'm like, hey, go to this. I'm telling him like where to go. Like go to you go to Yahoo, go here. All right, because I think I had two going at the same time while I'm driving down 71, and he's navigating. I'm telling him who to draft, like who went before and stuff. So that's how good I am. I think if I have a brother that does documentaries. And I was driving down there. I'm like, this would be like if he followed us for like during the draft time when we've got 2 or 3 drafts going on, which sounds crazy, but like we can do it. We do auction drafts. We try not to because that's a whole nother monster.
That's really hard. Yeah.
You've got to really pay attention, but a couple snake drafts you can do. It's not that big a deal. I love auction drafts. I did one baseball one this year. I know football is the main one, but I did do a baseball one this year. It's great. We'll help you out at any way that we can. I think we want to try to do some live shows here too. Would be fun, like on a Sunday morning before the season. If we get a lot of people watching our show and getting that, it would be cool because you used to have a show on a radio station that is like a Voldemort station. That's a station that will not be named on here, where you did a show prior on Sunday mornings before and you get questions and stuff. It was very cool. I would love to do something like that on occasion before like a noon kind of thing, which you could do because you got the cool background green screen studio. We don't have to be in studio anymore. So I think we might try to do that. Like if we do it at noon to 1, live questions.
I'd do it. Yeah.
Starting sets. It'd be great. All right.
Yeah. Wait, first I want to say this. So Chad, listen, here's the thing I want to tell you. If you have just started playing in the last few years, and this is not a flex, I'm just letting you know, I started playing fantasy football in 1980. Now you might think, wow, that's where fantasy football started. You're wrong. I played 1980 in the 3rd grade. We had a teacher, Bruce Stassforth. We called him Stass. And to get a bunch of knucklehead sports fans in the 3rd grade to learn about math and probabilities and percentages, every Friday we would do a draft. So you would draft a team every Friday. We go around in a snake draft type thing. And then we came in on Monday. We didn't count the Monday night game. We came in on Monday. We had to get the newspaper out. Yes, there were newspapers. And we would have to compute our own stats. And and we had to do average points per week, percentages of certain things. All these things we had to do on our own. And Stass told us he started doing it in the late 1960s in a bar in Cleveland where they would show up, him and his buddies, and they would draft teams that day and bet on it. Yes, 3rd grade, we learned about betting. We didn't play for money back then. But in the late 60s, though, that's when he started doing it. So I don't know how long it's been going on, but it's been going on for a long damn time.
Yeah, it has been. And I remember my buddy Dave and I in 8th grade, and it was a math class. We decided, I think we had heard about fantasy sports. So this would have been 84. Okay. Or it might have been, it would have been 84. And so we did it with basketball. We took like one of the old green scorebooks for basketball, and we drafted like 8 teams. Guys like World Be Free were in it, and that kind of stuff. And we would and then we would draft teams, and then we would again take the paper and get their stats, and then compile it and see which teams would win, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like we didn't have a whole league, but we thought we were nerds. And people always kind of asked us what we were doing. We're like, oh, nothing. And I look back, I'm like, man, we could have pioneered. We could have been the originators of DraftKings. Like we could have, because I thought back, like, dude, we could have probably got people, like had people give us money to do a DraftKings type thing. We probably would have got kicked out of school, but I mean, I would probably be much better off financially if we would have started DraftKings. So that's neither here nor there, but we've been doing it a long time. We've seen a lot of stuff, so we follow the trends and everything. And speaking of trends, we want to talk some draft strategy today. One of the big strategies when Jeff and I first started doing this, it was always running back. You would get running backs early. The thing of PPR has kind of changed that a little bit, where you want to get the receivers and then you can kind of piece together running backs because you don't have a lot of workhorse bell cow running backs. There's a lot of running backs by committee. So that was kind of the trend. And now it looks like it all depends on the year too, where running backs this year. I want to talk about a strategy a lot of people do, which is called a hero running back strategy, where you get one stud running back, you kind of fill in receivers, tight ends, and then you piece together running backs later on, like round 6, 7, 8, and that kind of thing, because you hopefully have the one running back hero that will carry the rest of your team. And then you can draft, get your tight end, get your quarterback, get your receivers and stuff. So I want to talk about the hero running back strategy, which I don't mind sometimes depending on where you draft. And this year, if you're drafting 1, 2, this is a great strategy, I think, to use, because if you can end up with Gibbs or Bijan, I think that's gonna bode well for a hero running back strategy, because I think they can have the Christian McCaffrey type seasons that he had that could just win you a league. Do you like this strategy, Jeff? If you have 1 or 2, grab one of those guys and then go receiver at the 2-3 turn.
Yeah. Okay. We do this, and every time you listen, we're trying to do this based on what the most common point strategy is in the point setups are in your league. I mean, most people don't do the super flex where it's 6 points for a passing touchdown. You start 2 quarterbacks, whatever. Most people don't do that. Typically, it's 4 points for a passing touchdown now, and it usually is a PPR, half point PPR, and then 6 points for the touchdown. So that's kind of what we're basing all of this on. And I look at it, and yeah, there's 2 guys. If I don't have 1 or 2, then I'm probably not drafting a running back in the first round. I think that's about this year where it is, because there's so many question marks about the like next year. Let's say CMC had a great year last year, but he also had a lot of touches. He's not young and he's injury prone. It has been. So like, and then like Derrick Henry, you don't want to be on the wrong end of Derrick Henry. I've been saying for 3 years, though, he's done. So I've been wrong 3 years in a row. I will be right at some point, though. And this might be the year I'm right on Derrick Henry. But like when you look at the running backs, so there's so many question marks. Devon Achane. Miami's offensive line sucks. They don't have any receivers to throw to. Who else we're looking at? Ashton Jeanty, who knows? Amari Hampton, I don't know. James Cook is probably the next one on my board as far as ones I feel good about. I'm not saying Cook will outperform all of those guys, but I have more confidence in Cook than I do in McCaffrey, Taylor, Henry, any of those guys.
Yeah, I think it's so weird because you have the top 2, and then you've got Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. You talked about Achane, Cook. Those are the next 4. And There's question marks on everybody. Like you said, McCaffrey was not effective last year. He just volume won out. Achane, the Dolphins are just going to be horrible. They have Malik Willis, who's a running quarterback, and a lot of times running quarterbacks do not do a lot of checkdowns, and they got a whole new coaching staff, so you don't know what that's going to look like. You said James Cook, great offense. Last 2 years, the thing with him a couple years ago, they weren't sure if he could be a workhorse back. He has shown he could do that. They give him the ball at the goal line. There's really nobody behind him, so he would probably be the next guy. And then you've got the question marks too. You've got Jeanty, who you don't know what the Vegas is going to look like. I like Jeanty a lot because of Kubiak being there. I think he's going to open up some stuff. I do like Amari and Hampton as well. I think that team's going to be better. You've got Mike McDaniel there running the offense, but there's still question marks. He was hurt last year. You don't know how they're going to employ him. Barkley, you talk about guys that have a lot of carries on their body.
It had a big had a big drop last year.
Yeah, and if you look at the year, he was huge and had like the 2,000 yards.
Yeah,
that was built on, I think he had like 8 or 9 like 40+ touchdown runs, which is, you cannot sustain that. I think the Eagles are going to take a step back, but that's just me. And then you've got guys like Henry who continue to do it, but again, he's on the wrong side of 30. They got a whole new coaching staff there as well. We don't know what that's going to look like. And then you got a guy like Chase Brown who, like, there are moments he looks like, okay, this guy could be a 400 touch back, but then he just disappears. And partly because I think Zach Taylor is a horrible coach, and they got so many other weapons. Like we don't need to give it to Chase Brown all the time because we've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and stuff like that. So I think that's it. And then, like, if you're doing a hero running back, I think you want the top 2, because then if you don't and you're sitting at 8, like, it's almost better to do 2 running backs, but we can talk about that at another time. hero running back is if you didn't have the top two, and let's say you had a 12 team and you were at 8 or 9. Because then you're looking at, you got the 2 running backs go, and then you look at the receivers that are there. You're going to figure Chase, Nakua, JSN, St. Brown, probably Jefferson. That gets us to 7. Lamb could be 8. So if you're at 9, all those receivers are gone. Do you want to take a chance on London, Pickens, Olave, or do you want to go with a chance on one of the other running backs? I think that's where you got to be at if you want to use this strategy. Because I think if you're not at 1, 2, and they go until you get to 9, I think I'd rather take a chance on one of those receivers. But if you're at 9, 10 and stuff, is it James Cook, the guy you would want to go from there over McCaffrey, Achane, Hampton, Genty, Barkley?
I would gladly take Cook there. And let me make the argument for Chase Brown, at least as we sit right now. Last year, you and I made a lot of money for people because we believed in the Cowboys offense and George Pickens. Pickens in a contract year. And we saw what he did. Career high, might have been the best receiver on the Cowboys last year.
Yes.
And so Chase Brown is on his last year of his contract. Not enough people are talking about that. He doesn't have a contract for next year. He is done after this year. And so if the Bengals don't get something done, he is playing for his next contract. And 2 things happen there. The Bengals will run him into the ground if they're not going to sign him, and he's going to want to be run into the ground if they're not going to sign him. And so in a great offense like that if you told me before the draft, I get Cook and Chase Brown as my 2 running backs, sold. I think Chase Brown, he's gone in the second round. And here's the other thing I like about him. He started off well, and then Burrow got hurt, that kind of thing. Chase Brown won people leagues last year down the stretch in the playoffs. And here's the other thing about Chase Brown. Here's the depth chart for the Bengals running backs behind Chase Brown. Samaje Perine, who's 32 or 33. Taj Brooks. Yeah.
Huh?
37. No, he's not 37. He's not. I know. He's
Taj Brooks, Gary Brightwell. It's the Chase Brown show. P. Ryan's going to come in here and there. They use him into 2-minute drill and stuff. But if you told me Chase Brown averages 25 touches a game,
take it.
Yeah. So I think he's one to take a chance on, even if as my RB1. And I think you talked about the Cowboys. I think a sneaky hero RB that you could probably go receiver.
Yeah.
And your first, Javonte Williams, I kind of love this year because, again, he's on an explosive offense. They've got a lot of weapons, and there's not much behind him on the depth chart with Jaden Blue, Malik Davis, and whatever a Phil Mafaha is. What do you think about
Go ahead.
No, I was like, what's your thoughts on Williams?
Okay. So last year I loaded up on Cowboys all these drafts. I got a lot of Dak. I got a lot of Pickens, not much Lamb, if any. I did not draft Lamb hardly at all. I did get Javonte Williams late. I also liked Ferguson, the tight end. Jesse Ferguson. No, Jesse Ferguson was a boxer, right? Jake Ferguson is this guy. Whereas Jesse Ferguson was the boxer, right?
I think I don't know. I just we always call him Turd Ferguson. Shout out to Norm Macdonald, anyways, in our league. But yeah, it is Jesse. I have no idea who Jesse Ferguson is.
Jesse. I think it was Jesse the Truth Ferguson was a washed-up boxer.
Maybe.
Nonetheless,
I think he's the 5th running back on the Bengals squad. But
that's
anyways,
fine. He might
it
be
is
also.
Jake Ferguson is who we're talking about as tight end.
Yes, I loaded. Look, I think Cowboys offense this year will be elite again. The defense will be better. Yeah, Caleb Downs back there. It should be better. But I love the Cowboys offense again. Now, I won't get Pickens at the value I got him last year. There's no way. But I will take Prescott. We talked about the quarterback thing we did. But I like Javonte Williams too. You let Javonte Williams slip to me in the 3rd or 4th round, I will. You can't get me up there fast enough to the podium.
No, I mean, and that's just it. It's all about value. And so I think hero running back has its merits, but I think with a year like this, I think the only time I would really deploy it is if I got either Gibbs or Robinson. You don't have to have 1, 2. You could end up at the 3 because someone could go receiver. You could probably end up at 4. I don't see either of those. I think Gibbs is the consensus 1. I could see in a PPR people going 3 wide receivers. So you could possibly get Bijan at 5 because I think people are scared of that Falcons offense. But the reason I like Gibbs and Robinson, and if you're going to do a hero running back, I think I would like guys like them who are going to get anywhere from like 40 to 70 receptions. I think that's how that works. Like Derrick Henry is one of those guys where it's going to be touchdown reliant. And you don't know how that's going to be year to year.
I want to clear this up. There's 2 Jesse Fergusons.
Okay.
One is the red-haired guy on Modern Family.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Okay, that's Jesse Ferguson.
That's Jesse Ferguson. That's right. Yes.
Jesse Ferguson, the boxer, was 13-0 before losing to Carl the Truth Williams. Jesse, I think, might have been the judge. Anyway, Jesse Ferguson also lost to Mike Tyson, Bone Crusher Smith, Orland Norris, Oliver McCall, Bruce Selden, Michael Dokes, Tony Tubbs, Ray Mercer, Riddick Bowe, Ray Mercer again, Frank Bruno, Larry Holmes, Alex Stewart, Hasim Rockman, and also Andrew Galata. He lost to all those guys. Jesse was called the Boogeyman Ferguson. But he look, we make fun of boxers and all that stuff. This guy went 26-18, and he fought for the championship numerous times. No heavyweight boxer who has 18 losses fights for the championship, has fought for the championship multiple times, but somehow Jesse did.
They did. So that no other fantasy show are you going to get this boxing kind of
and
thing.
Modern Family.
And Modern Family. That's why we're the fantasy football island. We will try to put in any kind of 80s reference of anything, TV, sports. We can do it all here. Once we get into the season, it's going to be more of my 80s thing. I've really been slacking on that. But with the Hero RB, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm more of a like do the I can't remember what it's called. I did a brain fart there where you load up on running backs early.
Right.
Like you go RB heavy early. And not even really that. I like to have 2 running backs on my first 3 if it leans that way. And again, that's where you got to go do mock drafts. Because then you're going to know where guys fall, especially like, because again, I don't know where Williams is going to fall. I can see him in the 4th round, probably.
God, I love Javonte Williams the 4th round.
I don't think he's going to fall farther than that. It just depends. Like in a 10 team, he's probably in the 4th. 12 team, you never know because you got teams with quarterback issues and stuff where guys want to get that quarterback early. Or again, Bowers, McBride. If those guys are going end of the 2nd and the 3rd, I love that because I'm not on those guys. But with the Hero RB, you got to. That doesn't mean to not draft a running back until you get all your other spots. A lot of people will do that. I wouldn't, just because I think there's a drop off with running backs after a certain point. And give me guys, but I think this year we could see more of where there's guys that go back to like the workhorse running back. I think you're still going to have like the running back by committees, but I think it's going to be less because I think when you look at the Lions, David Montgomery's gone. I think Gibbs is. I think,
but they have Pacheco there now, right?
Yeah, I think Pacheco's still gonna have a role, but I think Gibbs could still have 70% of the rushes. Yeah. I think Bijan's in a better spot now because I don't think Brian Robinson is going to take as much work as Algier did. You look at Genty is in the backfield by himself. Jonathan Taylor's in a backfield by himself. We talked Javonte Williams, Chase Brown. Hampton kind of is. I know they brought in Keaton Mitchell from the Ravens. And I think McDaniel's going to kind of like to use him. He's got speed, but I think Hampton's going to still be kind of like the majority guy. I think this year, more than we've seen in the past, we have seen where it's not just a running back committee 50-50. I think we've got a lot of spots where you do have workhorse backs, even if it's a guy like Devon Achane, who it may not be productive. And then you still got McCaffrey and stuff where do you want to take a chance on him? So if you're looking at running backs, Jeff, is there a spot where you're like, if I don't get like it's these 10 guys I like as a running back 1, and then if I don't get those, then I'm going to probably wait a little bit longer because I would rather just I'd rather get guys later on and just load up in receiver and get heavy there, or do you try to reach and get a guy that's probably not an RB1?
I think as I sit here today, and we haven't done any drafts yet, we're going to start doing them in mock drafts and whatnot. We'll get into it, and things could change based on that. And also, obviously, things will change in training camps with injuries and whatnot. But as I sit here today, it's like if I don't get one of the top 2 running backs, if I don't get Bijan or Gibbs, I think I'm waiting. And I think I'm going to, now granted, like I presented to you earlier, if I get a chance to get, Cook and Chase Brown in like a 9 spot and then another one in the second round, I'll jump on that. But I'm not going to overpay for them. And I think it will be probably receivers for me early on if I don't get one of the top 2 running backs. And as I get deeper into it, then, no, I don't want Javonte Williams to be my number 1 back. I like him a lot, depending on what the value is going to be. But if he ends up being my number 1 back because I took 3 great receivers or 2 receivers and an elite tight end, I'll do it, and I'll be fine with it. Ideally, though, I'd rather have, if I don't get Chase or Cook and Chase Brown in some order, whatever the hell it goes, then I think that, after the second pick, I'm looking at Jahmyr Chase probably to take as my guy, or Puka Nacua, someone like that. I'd probably take Chase over Nacua, but you're either banking on Burrow not getting hurt or Nacua not getting hurt, one or the other. I'm not sure which one you lean towards on that one, but I don't see myself going. If it's a standard league or PPR league, I should say, if that's what it is, I just think that Gibbs and Bijan are so far ahead of everybody else. I'm not going to reach.
Yeah, I'm with you too, because you go like Taylor, McCaffrey, H.N. Cook, Genty, Hampton, Barkley, Brown, Henry are the next guys. That gives you the top 11 running backs that are probably going to go in some order like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather get a couple of receivers. And if I miss out on those guys, and then I end up with like Walker, Javonte Williams, ETN, Judkins, Swift, Tootin.
Yeah.
Like there's good running backs to have if you pair a couple of them together, and then hope they both work out. Because again, I think Williams is in a spot where he's going to have the majority of the carries. Breece Hall, bad team, but like there's not much behind him. If Josh Jacob plays and doesn't have any kind of suspension, if he gets suspended like 4 games, he could be a huge value. I kind of like Kenneth Walker on that offense as well. You got, Bucky Irvin, Tootin's going to be, you've got guys like, if they pan out, it can work out for you. But if you're loaded up and you've got like 3 stud receivers, again, you can always trade for a running back. So hero running back strategy, as I think it only works in certain spots. And I would go if you can get one of those 2 guys, then I think a hero one, because I think those 2 guys can carry your running back room. Because especially if you're only starting 2, that's the other one too. If you only have to start 2 running backs, then I think a hero running back strategy works. Because if you get like Gibbs and you pair him with like Tootin or Etienne, I think you're fine. Right. If you've got 3 wide receiver ones on their team, like if you end up with like, like I don't know who, if you had Gibbs, who you'd get on the back end, but you'd probably go receiver, you'd be all right. And then, I think that's the other thing too, is like, depending on how many running backs you have to start.
I think that, Chad, I think we have to create something new.
Okay.
Because I think we have to call them superhero running backs. I think there are 2 superhero running backs this year. Okay. Gotcha. And there's probably 5 or 6 hero running backs. And I'm just telling you, like, for me, if it's not one of the superhero running backs, then I've got the other options there. And some guys are going to take receivers. I could probably sneak in a couple of the hero running backs after that, at least one of them. But there's 2 superhero running backs, and that's all there is to it. I think that the thing I can't wait to see in these drafts that we do, and in the mock drafts we do, there's like 3 running backs that I think are going to be big definers of how the drafts go. And they could be way overdrafted or way underdrafted, but they've got question marks. And here's the 3 that I've got. I've got Jeremiah Love in Arizona. You mentioned Kenneth Walker in Kansas City. That's another one. And I think the third one is Travis Etienne Jr. in New Orleans. I think those 3 are going to be very critical based on how they start. And I wonder how much is going to change from an August 3rd draft to a September 3rd draft on where those guys go. Because you got Jeremiah Love, who we know is going to likely be the most used rookie running back. He's going to get the volume. But is Arizona's offensive line worth a damn? Is their offense worth a damn out there when you've got, Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball around after complaining for starter money? They've had an awful year. Not an awful year. I'm sorry. He has not been an elite quarterback lately. And so those guys, Kenneth Walker in Kansas City, I want to believe it. When's the last time we ended up drafting and then loving a Kansas City running back?
Right.
God, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you and I both loved him. Hell, I drafted him. I traded to you because you loved him, and he sucked.
It was probably the Nigerian nightmare, Christian Okoye or Larry Johnson back then. I tell you what's Jeremiah Love is interesting. I'm kind of off him this year, even though I love the talent, because again, Nathaniel Hackett's our offense coordinator, and he's the one guy that if I had to choose him or Matt Nagy, that's the only other guy I would choose. Matt Nagy over Hackett. And I would do it just because, but those are the two worst. And I think Nagy's is somewhere. I don't know if he's with the Giants, but that's one thing you got to look at too sometimes is these coordinators, how they've used in the past. And Hackett is just horrible. That's going to be a three-headed monster. It's going to be one I would rather have someone else draft Jeremiah Love and then try to get him on the cheap in a trade when it's like they're bad. They're using everybody. And then like sometimes even the third or fourth week, like people are fed up with it. You can maybe throw a guy to get Jeremiah Love. But I just think Hackett's going to hamstring them that much and the quarterback play.
I know you're making a joke, but ever since you said about Nigerian Nightmare, I got text messages from Jamal Charles and Priest Holmes and also Larry Johnson. They want to have a word with you about the last time a Kansas City running back that you drafted you felt happy about.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah, they have some good ones. But the thing is, too, like if you look at Andy Reid historically, he usually does. I mean, he's been coaching forever, and he's had good teams. So it's not like he had bad teams. But you look back in Philly and even in his time in Kansas City, I think in his entire career, I think he's only had like 2 years where he had like a top 5 fantasy running back, which is weird because he's had good teams. I think he had one with I think it might have been Kareem Hunt's rookie year or something like that because it was phenomenal. And it was one of the years I think maybe Brian Westbrook had a crazy amount of touchdowns, but it's only been 2 years where a Reed running back has produced a top 5 fantasy season. So that's something to also note on here.
I'll give you a homer guy that I like, Rico Suave Dowdle in Pittsburgh. I think that Rico Suave could have a really good year this year there. I know Jaylen Warren is going to do stuff out of the bat, like as far as catching passes and whatnot. I think Rico could have a big year this year, though, for Pittsburgh. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, I believe.
Yeah, I do like that because, again, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be that good this year. I think he may be the best guy out there. They for some reason, they like using Warren. It just depends on what Mike McCarthy wants to do. I'll give you a couple other guys that I like. Again, this would be, as an RB2, just like a sleeper type of guy. I do like Jonathan Brooks. If he can stay healthy, I'm not sold on the Panthers running back room. Chuba. I tell you who, I do like Rashad White
in Washington.
For Washington because I think he's going to get a lot of the passing game, and I think people are still in love with Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Yeah, that's right, Bill.
Yeah, but I Rashad White, when he had time in Tampa, he gets the job done, and he's a great catcher out of the backfield. And the third guy, I just want to believe in him because I think the talent is so much better than the guy he's up against. Is Trayvon Henderson. I don't know how you watch those games and be like, oh, use the eye, like that guy better than that guy, and the guy that you keep playing fumbles all the time. And he went to the alma mater. He's in your alma mater, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe his side piece was saying, "Hey, we can't be playing Trayvon Henderson."
Do you think Trayvon's do you think Trayvon in most leagues will get drafted above Ramondre Stevenson? Or do you think Stevenson goes first?
I think in sharper leagues they might, just because I think people see like if the talent's there, like he's got the bigger upside.
Yeah,
Stevenson. But I think they'll probably both get drafted around the same time. I haven't really looked at ADPs yet because it's still kind of early to really be looking at ADP. But I just think at some point, he's younger, he's faster, more dynamic. I just think that's going to be it. I think I'd rather, again, if you're taking chance like that, like what's Ramondre Stevenson going to give you? He's going to be average.
He'll fumble.
Like if you're, exactly. If you're taking guys like you want guys that could be home run hitters that if this guy hits, it's a game changer for your team.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's it for hero running backs. We'll come in with some more strategies. Do some mock drafts on here for you. We're going to try to get you some content out on a weekly basis. I don't know if it's going to be every day, but probably every day. Jeff and I are going to be on here together, or we might be solo, giving you a 10-minute snippet of some great fantasy knowledge that you need. So if you want to check that out, fanstreamsports.com, go there. All our shows are on there. You can check us out on YouTube as well.
Fantasy Draft Proxies.
And go to Fantasy Draft Proxies. Jeff and I need monies, man. We don't make a lot of monies. So I don't want my wife having to go back to work doing like full-time stuff. She does homeschooling, so that kind of thing. But like, I until I get a 5-for-5 bet that hits, I get like 35 grand. Fantasy Draft Proxies, go there, check it out. It is not that expensive. And just to have someone help you draft, especially if you cannot draft, go there. At Jeff and I, better than auto draft for sure. If you're new to it, or there's a new format that you're not used to, hey, they're doing Dynasty this year. Jeff and I have done the Dynasty thing. We're in a Dynasty league together. We have done so many auction drafts. Those are my favorite, because that could be a dicey thing if you've never done an auction draft before. And we'll talk about that as we get in the season too. I think we'll talk about strategies with the draft. But it was good to be back talking football. I feel like this is like, it felt weird talking about football in like May and June. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I got my Emeka Ibuka shirt on. So we'll be here getting you ready for fantasy because it is just around the corner. I cannot believe it's already August. The summer's about done. Kids will be going back to school and everything. So Jeff, always good talking to you, even if we're not in studio together. What's any last words?
Yeah, I think it's weird that your kids are homeschooled, but you still have to get on a bus. That part's kind of odd to me, but whatever. You keep doing you. Yes, it's great. It's that time of year. It's not around the corner. It's here right now. This is time for fantasy football, and I'm excited about it. We're setting draft dates for all the leagues you and I are in, and then we've got to do drafts for everybody else. Can't wait for that. Chad, this was awesome. Let's do it again soon.
It was awesome. Yeah, we got to get here every day, every other day. And I do have one kid that goes to school in Circleville, so it is a drive for us every day. That's not what I'm looking forward to. So we're trying to coordinate with another family who's got a senior. Like, hey, can you take Liam? We'll meet you halfway.
You got a mushroom belt. You got to coordinate.
We do have to coordinate, so it's a lot for us. So Jeff, good talking to you, man. Check us out. He is at Fit Happens on X. I am at Chad Ocho Rinko. FanStreamSports.com for all your sports need. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.